Hi, everyone. Shelly here. The topic I want to talk about today is, well, it's about building a spiritual foundation. So that's going to be a series of talks. I feel the need, since I just started this YouTube channel, to do things in order, which is super Virgo of me. You'll find, like, as you get to know me on here, and for those of you who already know me, I am a Virgo sun, Virgo rising. I'm very hospital corners about some things. So anyway, I wanted to just start at the beginning with like spiritual foundation. So if you're new to a spiritual path or you've been away for a while, this is a really good talk for you. Or if you've been around for a while, I mean, I find that you know, revisiting topics that we already know, especially like for a new voice to you, can be super helpful. And the thing that I think we all do need in a spiritual life is consistent inspiration and motivation to be devoted to the path that we're on. But before I dive into that, what I'd really like to do is just take a moment to take a breath with you all. So if you're listening to this and you're at home or in front of your computer, I'd invite you just to close your eyes for a moment. If you're in the car, obviously, let's not do that, but you can just bring your attention inward. So just take a moment and take a deep breath. And as you exhale, just take a moment to relax. Just let it go. Let it go. We all have an it, the thing that's on our mind, or the worry, or the fear, or just the busyness. Just let it go for a moment. Remember that our purpose on earth is to return to our source, spirit, to learn and grow along the way, but not to lose ourselves in the outward busyness of life or in our busy minds or our worries and fears. It is to return to the light and to the love that is truly who we are. So wherever you are, just take a moment. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take long to let go and connect. If you're so inclined, you can put a finger right here on your third eye and just touch here and ignite that energy to remind yourself of your sight and of your high consciousness, your spirit, divine consciousness. Okay. Ooh, I just felt like a little boop in there. So deep breath in, deep breath out. Let's talk about creating a spiritual foundation. And again, if you are new or you're old or you've been away from a practice and you're returning, this is for you. Most people who find their way to what I have to offer either were raised without a religion or they were raised with a religion and then they got away from it because they found that it didn't really work for them for usually very personal reasons. But so I imagine that if you have found your way to what I have to share, you're a little outside of the box. And there's a lot of us. There's more of us than, well, a lot of us probably know, especially I live in the Midwest of the United States. It's a a lot of religion, a lot of specifically Christianity here. But I think there's a lot more of us kind of like leftovers or outsiders hanging around than we may realize if you do live in spaces where spiritually you don't feel like you have a community, and so you just don't really do much of anything. But I'm here to say that one of the most important things about having an intuitive, divine, connective, healthy, yummy life is finding a way to spirit. And the way is like not random. Let's take Christianity, for instance. That is a way, and they have rules in that religion of what that way is, or ways are, and there's prayer, and there's going to church, and there's reading the scripture, and there's studying the scripture, and of course, following the 10 Commandments. If you go into the Buddhist faith, they have a way, and they will call it the way, the Eightfold Path, and they will lay it out for you. This is the way. Hinduism has a way. All the great religions have a way. So where does that leave you if you don't have a religion to tell you the way? Or if you feel like almost like, ooh, that like might spiritually turn you off? You can still find a way. You can create your own way. Now, this is probably controversial, so maybe some people have popped off right now who don't believe that in that. But my experience with spirit is that the divine is inside of each one of us. We can discover that divine within us through practice and technique. And the only curriculum, or not curriculum, the only, I can't think of the word right now, the only have to in that is that it has to work for you. It has to speak to you. It has to be of a spiritual language that resonates with you. So when you are looking for a way, here's some of the things that needs to be part of that. First of all, you do need teachers. Paramahansa Yogananda, who is my teacher, he had a teacher. Okay, he was one of the great ones. He was a great saint on earth. He was an embodiment of the divine on earth. He had a teacher. Like, we all need a teacher. And I will do another video about how to find a good teacher, because as we all know, there's been a lot of fake teachers out there, or teachers who can mislead us. And there's really nothing, more painful and has really in the past at times infuriated me, watching false prophets mislead people and interfere with these people's ability to truly know the divine, to truly know spirit. Interfering with that relationship is so egregious to me. I would not want to live that karma. So we'll talk about what it is. And I imagine if you're here listening to me, you probably have some teachers that you've studied. A lot of, people who are involved with Hay House, there's lots of good teachers on there. Ram Dass, Wayne Dyer, these are like modern teachers. Of course, then there's like the ancient rishis, the Bhagavad Gita, all the old teachings, right? In order to find a good teacher, it just has to speak your language. When I found Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings many years ago, I didn't follow him because somebody told me to, and I didn't follow his teachings because I thought I should. I did it because when I read his writings, it went right in. He answered the questions I had. He answered questions that I didn't even know that I had, right? And I couldn't really get enough. I just absorbed his teachings so readily. It took me some time to learn to trust it. I'm still learning because I have trust issues with God and with people. So, it's a relationship. When you get a teacher or several teachers, it is a relationship that you will develop over time. But it's very important to have a teacher that's gone before you, somebody that is more advanced in terms of practice and connectivity with the divine. The second thing is, it's very important to have some techniques, meditation, prayer, yoga, some sort of, hopefully time-tested techniques that are going to be able to center you, ground you, and draw your energy and your attention within. Again, there's a lot of techniques out there. You want to try them out for yourself. Yogananda used to say when people doubted, he's like, I don't want you to believe me. Just practice. Like, do an experiment. Try it for 2 weeks. He teaches Kriya yoga, breath work, meditation, and then let me know. So same for you. If you come across a technique, try it on for size, see if it does it. Now, how do we know if a technique is working? We should experience more peace. We should experience a withdrawal of our senses inward. We should experience a sense of equanimity within ourselves. And also a withdrawal from the crazy, the monkey mind. It should all start to kind of settle. Now, that might not happen immediately when we practice, but you should be able within a couple of practices. I mean, if right now, if we sat down for 5 minutes together and just did long, deep breaths for a few minutes, we don't need 2 minutes, we would all feel a shift, right? So there should be some sort of technique that, again, resonates with you. The last thing is kind of what I just addressed, is that there should feel like some sort of sense of communion with the divine. And what does that mean? For me, I have found that the divine is peace and love and compassion And I know that my techniques and my spiritual practices are working when I feel more of those things. I'm less inclined to be quick tempered. I'm less inclined to get irritated. I'm less inclined to um, judge other people. Like I'm more open to offering compassion. So if you're on a path right now and you're not experiencing some of the things I'm talking about, you may want to reconsider. Um, but these are the things that are what I would call like a true spiritual path, because spirit is love. So if we're going to have a mystical life, it is rooted in the experience of love, not talking about love, not the idea of love, but actually vibrating the vibe of love. It's really good. It's really good when we practice it. Um, okay, the two tenets of this way. Once you discover a way, and I guarantee you, if you decide, like, hey, I need a way, like I'm out here, I'm blowing in the wind, I'm spiritually oriented, but I'm feeling a little lost. I get too caught up out in the world. I'm chasing, money, I'm chasing people, I'm chasing life, and I'm getting nowhere. I need to find a way. Pray about that. And oh, I was cleaning. Pray about that, and your spiritual guides will start bringing it to you. So pay attention when you set that intention to find a way to what comes your way. Books or suggestions, just follow the leads. They will breadcrumb you to effective ways. Now, I also want to say, my little fair, I don't even know what that's from. I also want to say that developing our spiritual selves and our evolution is a process. So you may find yourself really devoted to a practice of some way, and then that practice might over time shift a little bit. So just be patient, just kind of follow. It's like that. What was that one movie? Oh, it was Brave, where the girl's mom turns into a bear and she kind of like finds her way to this magical place. These little lights like light up and guide her. That's what the spiritual path is going to be like. There's going to be little lights where you're going to be guided to certain practices, certain teachers along the way. So just follow the light. And we'll have lots of other talks about this. But okay, so the two things, once you've found a way, and let's just say right now, your way is 5 minutes of breathing in the morning. It doesn't have to be elaborate. You're going to wake up, say a prayer to connect, breathe with the intention to connect, and then go about your business. So maybe that's the way that you start. The two things that are needed for it to work at all. Number one is discipline. Like, what's the other word I'm looking for? Discipline, consistency. Like you got to do it. I've had so many clients over the years who feel like their spiritual lives are not effective, but they're not practicing enough. We can't breathe 5 minutes one day a week or two times a month and expect to have any good results. It needs to be a consistent practice. I am very much for daily practice. I didn't used to be, because when I first started my spiritual path, meditation, which is my way, was very difficult. And I didn't really like it, even though I was drawn to it and it made so much sense to me. And there were times when I did really like it. But for the most part, in the beginning, it felt like a chore. So I would tell myself, and this was an important piece of my journey, that daily practice wasn't that important. But I did develop into understanding that when I did not practice daily, I was not as centered or connected, or I wasn't feeling as well. I couldn't like keep it together. So that developed quickly into a devotion to like every day. I have to find myself every day here, because if we don't, our own troubled thoughts, the outer world, other people's opinions, this world, this illusory world, it's doing everything to draw us out and away from ourselves. We got to fight the good fight and go in. So we need to be disciplined. And then the other thing is to have a sense of devotion, which I would say / passion. And we can develop that passion. And what I mean is that we have to want this life. We have to want to have the spiritual journey. We have to develop that passion. The way that I developed more and more passion for this path is by having a practice and seeing the difference in how I felt and how I perceived life, and just feeling better and better, watching my life improve over time, watching my sense of self improve over time. These are the kinds of things that you will begin to experience, and it will make you devotional and passionate for it. Um, but the first thing that we have to do is find a way and then devote ourselves to it. And I feel like I could talk about this topic all day, but I want to keep these videos a little short, at least some of them. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Um, I would be happy at some point to share an outline of developing a way to connect. And I just I could talk all day about this stuff. So I will call it a day, so to speak. Let's take a breath. Okay. Let's take a breath, relax your body. You can close your eyes if you are somewhere where you can do that. Let go of the stress that you're holding inside you right now, just for a moment. Let yourself be relieved of all the burdens and pressures of life for a moment. Relieve yourself of future thinking and the past, and just be here for a moment. Feel your own heartbeat. Feel your breath. And then send an intention out into the universe, to your spiritual guides, for a spiritual way, a path. Give me a path so that I can become more loving, more centered, more divine, more connected. If you already have a path, send out an energy or a prayer to the universe. Let me be devoted. Help me to be more disciplined. Help my way to be more effective. And deep breath in and out. All right. Thank you guys for your time. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to stop the recording now. All right. Love to you all.